Today in the Acoustic Guitar Sessions studio, we have Raul Midon. Good to see you, Raul.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Raul's got a brand new album out, but first we're going to talk a little bit about his background and what he's done over the years. And so it's good to have you here. Now, Raul, you grew up in New Mexico, but you have Latino background. Your mother is from Argentina?
My mother is African American. My dad's from Argentina.
Your dad's from Argentina, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what kind of music did you listen to when you were growing up? What kind of music was around the house?
We had kind of I think a little bit unusual music listening environment. There was a lot of contemporary classical music around, so even as little kids, we were listening to weird stuff like Harry Partch and John Cage and then, of course, also a lot of flamenco. From a guitar standpoint, that was probably the first music that I heard that was really fascinating to me. Flamenco and what's called Argentine folk music, which is very, very guitar-based.
So you grew up around an eclectic mix of music and of experimental musics, too.
Absolutely, yeah.
When did you first start getting into playing the guitar and getting your first guitar?
I got my first guitar when I was 6. It was a little, I think it was called a Kent. It was a tiny little thing. Mm-hmm. And it was my mother's guitar. And I got my first lesson when I was about 6 also.
How old were you when you started saying, this is what I'm going to do professionally? I love to play guitar and I want to start playing out with people. And
I wasn't one of those that was playing gigs really young. I didn't really start playing out per se until after college, but I was very much playing a lot and practicing a lot. And being blind and all that, I was really sort of concentrating on school and, getting through that. So I didn't have time to go out and play gigs.
Growing further apart lately. I don't even know who you are, baby. We could only turn back the time. Maybe we could hold a feeling inside when we were light as a feather. You and me together. When we were like milk and honey, everything was sunny, just boy and girl. Where did the feeling go? I don't know. Was it ever really love? Was it ever really love? Was it love? Was it ever really love? I remember holding your hand for the first time and how you made me feel like a man. So fine, if only we could figure out why love died. Maybe we could keep it alive. When we were light as a feather, you and me together in another world. When we were like milk and honey, everything was sunny, just boy and girl. Where did the feeling go? Was it and it's gone too far. I never knew you. Been looking through you at a picture in my mind. Was it ever really love? Was it love? Was it ever really love? It was never really love, baby. Felt so much like love in the beginning when we were spinning. Light as a feather, but I left us together. Yeah, I want some real love. Never wanna lie again. Never wanna cry again. The way I'm crying now, such a sad thing. It's not a bad thing to leave some room for love to come your way. Ooh, baby. Was it ever, really, ever, really, ever, really love? Was it ever, really, ever, really, ever, really love? Was it ever, really, ever, really, ever, really love? Was it ever, 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 really love? Was it ever, 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 ever? Was it ever really love?
And so you have a very percussive style. So you learned scales, you learned how to use the wood as a percussion instrument, and there's kind of a scratchy sound that you have when you do scales.
Yeah, I mean, I think my modus operandi was always to try to play drums and guitar at the same time. So,
Right.
you know, so that's the, so I use both hands to kind of play rhythm.
Right.
I do things where I play like, so I'm playing literally just kind of a hammer on with my left hand and playing rhythm with the right hand kind of thing.
Are there guitarists that you listen to that helped you kind of figure those techniques out?
I listened to, I think Tuck Andrus was a big influence on me. Of course, all the flamenco, Paco de Lucia and Sabicas. And then, of course, in high school, right about around that time, that Friday Night in San Francisco thing came out. Mm-hmm. So I was fascinated by all that fast picking, and then, it's an eclectic, I listened to a lot of jazz guitarists for a while, Pat Martino and Pat Metheny and John Schofield. And
so it's just kind of a mix of flamenco, acoustic soul, jazz, all these different flavors all mixed together.
Yeah. I was, just listening to a lot of different kinds of music, and never really considered myself in one genre.
Just synthesizing them all.
Right. So
how did you come about working with people like Shakira?
I worked in the studio with all these artists, mostly, I have to say, as a singer. They didn't even know I played guitar. I started just to practice. Sometimes I would bring my baby Taylor to the studio while I was waiting around to sing, and then they started to realize that I played guitar.